You grab your keys, you pick up your bag. Maybe you say something to your cat on the way out. A quick bye, be good, or a scratch behind the ears. And then you close the door behind you and go on with your day. Simple, routine, unremarkable. But have you ever stopped to wonder what happens on the other side of that door the second it closes? Most people assume their cat barely notices. Cats are independent, right? They sleep 20 hours a day. They don't care if you're there or not. They probably looked up for half a second when you left and then went back to doing absolutely nothing. That's the story we tell ourselves. It makes leaving easier. It feels like the responsible, rational thing to believe. But here's the thing. That story is almost entirely wrong. And what's actually happening in your home after you walk out, what your cat is experiencing, processing, and doing in the hours while you're gone is something that most cat owners have never fully understood. And when you do understand it, the moment you come home will never feel quite the same again. Let's start with the question that sits underneath everything else. Do cats actually miss us? For a long time, the scientific consensus leaned toward no. Cats were classified as solitary animals who didn't form the kind of social bonds that would produce real separation distress. Dogs missed their owners. Cats were indifferent. That was the accepted wisdom, repeated so often that most people stopped questioning it. And then the research started catching up to what cat owners had always quietly suspected. A landmark study from researchers at Oregon State University tested cats using something called the Secure Base Test, the same framework used to measure attachment in human infants. The results were striking. The majority of cats in the study displayed what behavioral scientists classify as secure attachment to their owners. When their person left the room, their stress indicators rose. When their person returned, those indicators dropped. Now, they used their owner as a kind of emotional anchor, a secure base, the same way a child uses a parent. And what most owners don't realize is that underneath the fur and the attitude and the reputation for not caring, your cat has been keeping track of you all along, more carefully than you knew. So what happens in the first few minutes after you leave? Animal behaviorists who have studied this using hidden cameras in homes while owners are away have described something that might surprise you. In the immediate aftermath of departure, many cats will walk through the spaces where their owner was most recently. The kitchen where you made your morning coffee, the bedroom where you got dressed, the spot by the door where you stood when you said goodbye. They're not wandering aimlessly. They're checking, tracing the invisible trail of your presence through the house, following your scent, which is still fresh, still warm in those spaces. In some cases, cats will return to these spots multiple times in the first hour, not frantically, not visibly distressed, just drawn back repeatedly to the places where you most recently existed. Something deeper is happening here than simple restlessness. What researchers observe in this behavior is a form of environmental processing. Your cat is confirming what they already know is true, that you're gone, while also maintaining a kind of connection to you through scent. Your smell is still in the room. Your presence hasn't fully disappeared. And for a creature whose world is built as much around scent as sight, that matters more than we usually appreciate. It's a strange and tender thing when you really think about it. Your cat, moving quietly through the house you share, following the last traces of you like a thread they don't want to let go of. But here's the thing. Not all cats experience your absence the same way. And this is where understanding your individual cat becomes so important. Research into feline separation behavior has identified a range of responses that vary depending on the cat's history, their attachment style, and the nature of their daily life. Some cats settle relatively quickly after their owner leaves. They sleep, they groom, they do their patrol. But others show what researchers describe as separation-related behaviors that are hard to misread once you know what to look for. Excessive vocalization when alone, destructive behavior that only happens while the owner is away, overgrooming to the point of creating bald patches, changes in eating habits when left for longer periods. These aren't signs of a bad cat or a dramatic cat. They are signs of a cat who has formed a deep attachment and who is struggling, in their own quiet way, with the absence of the person they're bonded to. And this is where it gets interesting, because cats are often labeled as aloof and low maintenance, precisely because they don't show their distress the way dogs do. A dog who misses their owner will pace and whine and bark and make their feelings impossible to ignore. A cat who misses their owner might simply stop eating as much, might sleep in strange places, might be slightly different in ways you couldn't quite name. Their distress is subtle, interior, easy to miss. What most owners don't realize is that quiet doesn't mean fine. It just means the communication is happening in a language they haven't learned to read yet. Now, what about the hours in the middle? The long stretch of afternoon when you're at work or out running errands and the house is still and empty? What is your cat actually doing? Here, the picture shifts, because cats, unlike many animals, are remarkably good at self-regulating. They are built for a kind of patient, alert waiting. In the wild, a cat can spend hours, sometimes most of the day, in a state of watchful stillness, conserving energy between hunts. That capacity for stillness, for sitting with time, carries over into the domestic life almost perfectly. Most indoor cats, when their owner is away, will cycle through periods of sleeping and waking, often choosing to rest in spots that carry their owner's scent most strongly. The couch cushion, where you usually sit, the pillow on your side of the bed, the hoodie you left draped over the chair. These aren't random choices. Scent is comfort. Scent is presence. Even when you're gone, the smell of you is a form of company. Some cats also maintain something close to their owner's routine even in their owner's absence. If you always eat breakfast at 7, your cat's body clock will alert them around that time, regardless of whether you're home. If you usually come through the door around 6 in the evening, your cat may begin moving toward the entrance in that window, sometimes up to an hour before you actually arrive, in anticipation of your return. This last behavior is one of the most documented and most quietly astonishing things cats do. Studies going back decades have recorded cats positioning themselves at doors and windows in advance of their owner's arrival, before any sound of the car, before any audible signal. Some researchers attribute it to the highly consistent internal clocks that cats develop around familiar routines. Others have explored whether cats might be responding to subtle cues we don't fully understand yet. Whatever the mechanism, the fact remains. Your cat is waiting for you. Actively, specifically, waiting. And then you come home. You open the door, and depending on your cat, you might get one of several greetings. Some cats come running. Some appear from around a corner, tail up, moving directly toward you. Some wait until you've settled in and then quietly materialize in the same room as if they just happened to be there. And some, the ones with reputations for being standoffish, might not appear to react at all for a few minutes, which frankly might be the most misunderstood behavior of all. Here's what's actually happening in that reunion moment. Research into post-separation behavior in cats has found measurable physiological changes when bonded cats are reunited with their owners. Stress indicators that rose during separation begin dropping. The cat's body, which was maintaining a kind of low-level alertness in your absence, begins to relax. The secure base has returned. The anchor is back. Whatever the cat was carrying while you were gone, they can now begin to put it down. The cat who comes running isn't more loving than the cat who saunters over after a few minutes. The behavior is different. The expression is different. But the underlying emotional reality is the same. They knew you were gone. They're aware that you're back. And something in them, at a level below words and conscious thought, settles. Something deeper is happening every single day in the life you share with your cat. And most of us walk past it without pausing to really see it. Your cat is not indifferent to your presence. They are not running on instinct alone, cycling through eat, sleep, hunt patterns with you as an incidental backdrop. They have a relationship with you, a real one, built on familiarity and routine and the specific, irreplaceable fact of you, your scent, your voice, your patterns, your presence. And every day when you leave, they feel that absence in some version of the way you might feel the absence of someone you love. They just can't tell you. They can't text you while you're at work. They can't call out when they're lonely. They can't explain what the long afternoon without you is like. All they can do is wait and trace your scent through the rooms and choose the cushion that smells most like you and sit by the door at the right hour, tail up and expectant, because you always come back, and they have learned that this is true. That kind of quiet, wordless trust, that steadiness of faith that you will return, is maybe the most honest form of love there is. So the next time you grab your keys and head for the door, take half a second, look back, because on the other side of that door, something that matters to you more than it can say is about to begin counting down the hours until you walk back through it. If this made you think differently about what your cat carries while you're away, share it with someone who leaves a pet behind every morning. And if you want to go deeper, what your cat's greeting when you come home is really communicating. Why they sleep in the spots they choose and what happens in a cat's body when they hear your voice. There's a lot more to discover.